afternoon, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, panelists, and participants. I'd like to begin by expressing my sincere gratitude to the organizers of the 6th International Conference on Learning Cities, and to the City of Jubail, industrial city, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, for hosting us so graciously. I'd also actually like to thank the translators who are enabling us to all connect from different regions, languages, and backgrounds to converse on this crucial topic. My name is Mark Patterson. I'm the Executive Director of Magnet, a center of innovation focused on the future of work, housed at Toronto Metropolitan University in Toronto, Canada. At Magnet, we are dedicated to leveraging digital technology to drive meaningful social and economic change. We are deeply committed to using innovative tools to address pressing issues such as climate change, workforce development, and community empowerment. Our mission is to ensure that technology serves as a bridge rather than a barrier, fostering inclusive growth for all. This makes our work highly relevant to today's discussion as we explore how digital technologies and AI can be harnessed to foster urban climate literacy and resilience. It's my privilege to open this crucial discussion titled Bits, Bots, and Better Tomorrows, Fostering Urban Climate Literacy Through Digital Technologies and AI. Today, we come together to explore how digital technology, artificial intelligence, and lifelong learning can transform our urban environments into sustainable, climate-resilient communities. Cities today are at the forefront of both challenges and opportunities in climate action. As hubs of diversity, culture, and innovation, urban centers hold immense potential to drive impactful change, not only through policy and infrastructure, but through education and engagement that reaches every citizen. Our focus today is how we can leverage digital technologies to elevate climate literacy, empower marginalized communities, and create an inclusive space where everyone, regardless of age or background, becomes an active participant in climate resilience. When we talk about climate action, technology, and education, we are really talking about the need for a shared, equitable learning journey. Imagine AI-powered visualization tools helping urban planners to map out flood-prone areas, or virtual reality experiences that allow students to witness climate impacts firsthand, or gamification strategies that make recycling a rewarding community endeavor. Imagine digital twins, virtual replicas of physical environments being used to simulate climate scenarios and their impacts on city infrastructure, helping policymakers make informed decisions. Augmented reality and virtual reality can provide immersive learning experiences, enabling citizens to understand the consequences of climate change in a deeply engaging and visceral way. And if you haven't visited the booth out in the reception area, it has an incredible demo of how many of these technologies are being used in the Royal Commission cities in Saudi Arabia, which is really impressive. These tools are not just novelties. They are the building blocks for making complex climate data understandable and actionable at every level of society, especially for youth, women, and communities traditionally left out of these conversations. Artificial intelligence can help us analyze vast amounts of climate-related data, identify patterns, and predict future environmental conditions with greater accuracy. AI-driven chatbots and learning assistants can facilitate climate education by providing personalized learning experiences and answering questions in real time, thereby making learning more accessible and tailored to individual needs. Digital twinning technology, by creating accurate models of urban systems, allow us to test climate resilience strategies without real-world risks, helping cities adapt proactively rather than reactively. But as we explore these opportunities, we must also acknowledge the challenges, issues like digital literacy, access to technology, and data privacy can widen the gaps if we are not careful. The conversation today is about making sure that the benefits of technology are inclusive, ensuring that no one is left behind in our pursuit of climate resilience. We must work together to foster an environment where learning is ongoing, collaborative, and accessible to all. Our panel today brings together diverse perspectives. Each speaker will share their insights on how their cities or projects have used digital technologies to address climate literacy in innovative ways, whether through AI, digital hubs, digital twinning, AR, VR-enabled learning, or immersive community engagement environments. The goal today is to move from ideas to actions, providing us all with actionable strategies that we can bring back to our own communities. Let's all use this opportunity to learn, challenge, and inspire one another, keeping in mind that a learning city is not just a place where knowledge is shared, but one that grows collectively, finding sustainable paths to better tomorrows. Thank you, and with that, let me introduce our esteemed panelists who will be sharing their experiences and visions. I'll first introduce Mr. Abdisameh Mahmood to present. So we're just looking for the presentation.
Bonjour, honorable assistance, je suis très content et très honoré de faire partie de ce panel en tant qu'intervenant. De prime abord, je voudrais remercier les organisateurs. Je remercie la ville de Dubaï, le Royaume de l'Arabie Saoudite, vraiment, pour l'organisation très
I would like to
maîtrisée.
thank Saudi Arabia for the organisation of this conference, the warm welcome to,
riche et important.
and indeed this conference which is very rich in information and of course very important. So, I would like to speak about a lifelong learning system that is focused on the climate thanks to technology and artificial intelligence. Indeed, I'm going to try and share my presentation with you. I want to share three ideas with you. The first one concerns the logical framework of a learning city in order to overcome this challenge of having a lifelong learning system focusing on climate change. And of course we're going to be using technology in the most effective way. I also want to speak to you about the approach in order to implement this. The approach in order to reach this objective. And the third idea is something that I believe is key for success. All of the ideas that I think are key, or the factors that are key for this to be a success. Firstly, I would like to say this is a multi-dimensional and also an emerging theme. Education is vast and it's very strategic, especially when it's focusing on climate change and especially when we're using technology. We need creativity, we need innovation, we need new approaches, and we need different ways of problem solving and finding solutions. And finally, there are two other themes, emerging themes, that are relevant. And indeed we have to ask ourselves the question of whether we want to be leaders or whether we want to be followers. If we're leaders, then we'll be able to anticipate and accompany this process. And all of that in order to set up an effective lifelong learning system. So, the logical framework. I would advocate for a risk management process, but looking at it in terms of positive risks.
Ces compétences
We need to make sure that we have the right skills so that we can fight against climate change. And of course we have this positive risk in the form of artificial intelligence and technology. And we want technology to be an asset and not a burden. Indeed, all of this presents many opportunities for us. And so we are really looking at technology as something positive and not negative. But in order to do that, we need to find the right strategy so that we can minimize the negative risks. So what will be the strategy so that we can deal with the risks? Are we going to get rid of this risk? Are we going to try and transform it? Are we going to try and share technology? Well, if we want to use technology, then we really need to bring it to the fore. So to have this kind of system, the mayor and all of the different stakeholders try and look at all of the positive aspects of this technology, and in this with a spirit of creativity and innovation, so that we can find the best solution in order to fight against climate change. And then we can adapt the content of our learning programs so that people can gain the necessary technological and green skills. So what kind of approach do we need? How are we going to approach this? So, as I said to you before, we need to create interactions so that these different domains and backgrounds can bring all stakeholders together for the good of this objective that is a common objective. So we need to take into account the different parameters and advantages of each area. For example, when it comes to new technology and artificial intelligence, we see the creation, for example, of software, computer systems and machines that typically require human intelligence. And we're also going to optimize the golden triangle: quality, on time, cost. When it comes to climate change, of course, that's a major challenge, and therefore we need many strategic approaches. But we see here we have climate modeling, renewable energy, smart grids, energy consumption, carbon capture and sequestration, climate adaptation and resilience, precise agriculture, and all of these are the kind of skills that we're going to need when it comes to our philosophy, our learning philosophy, and the skills that people need for the future. And finally, when it comes to the learning system, there are 4 levels. We have teachers, we have the learners, the training spaces, and the training spaces, whether that be physical or virtual, and of course the program and the governance of the program. So we're going to bring these 3 different domains together and all of the stakeholders in these domains together. Artificial intelligence is going to enhance human intelligence so that humans can develop technical skills, and there will also be innovation so that we will be able to have solutions that we can use to fight against climate change. And I was speaking about the strategic importance of these tools earlier, and all of this will help us to have a portfolio of skills that need to be developed. So this is an initiative for lifelong learning initiative that is being implemented at the city level. We have developed this through consultations between all of the different stakeholders. This program is going to really have an impact on people because, as you may know, the main cause of climate change is human impact on our planet. So if we can change kind of skills and the motivations of humans, then we'll be able to solve this issue. And that way we will reach our objectives. So, speaking very concrete terms, we can see the lifelong learning approach. We're going to look at the 4 different components. The teacher becomes a learner as well, a lifelong learner. Yes, of course, he'll be transferring skills to others, and therefore the teacher has to be up to date with all of the different developments and emerging developments. So the teacher is constantly evolving with their own skills in order to transmit them to the learners. Now, moving on to the learners. These learners have to become real agents of action. This was said before. That concerns people at all levels, and that's really, when it comes to education, climate change and technology, all of us as stakeholders. And so the idea is that learners become real actors, real catalysts when it comes to using artificial intelligence to fight against climate change, whether it be developing AI or using it directly. Then we have learning spaces. So as I said earlier, they can be virtual spaces or physical spaces. There is also a training centre that was created with the partnership of UNESCO, and many other cities have also developed these kinds of spaces, and this is something that is really beneficial when it comes to this lifelong learning challenge. And when it comes to the programs, the idea is to integrate the different skills, the digital and green skills, into this learning, lifelong learning program. Finally, the key success factors. There is one factor in particular that I believe is of the utmost importance. Here we're speaking about technology and artificial intelligence, and I believe that in order to really understand all of this, we need to opt for collective intelligence. This will help us to enhance our chances of having positive outcomes at the end, and to be able to overcome some of the obstacles. So what are we speaking about here? It's a collaboration between all different stakeholders, experts, scientists, policy makers, teachers, pedagogues, etc. All of this is absolutely essential when it comes to integrating the learning strategy that we want, so that we can have a real impact on climate change. So what is the goal, of course? I believe there are 2 main goals. First is to try and mitigate the effects of climate change, and also to adapt to the different consequences of climate change. These are the 2 vectors of action, and these are 2 emerging issues and problems. So, a learning city needs to be very flexible, responsive, and that's going to be something that is beneficial for in all areas when it comes to fighting against climate change. In all of the plenary sessions that we have attended, the ones that have gone before and the ones that will come later, I would like to thank the organisation team of the UNESCO and also the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for covering pretty much all facets of these issues. And here we see the importance of collaborating, of a participative approach. This will help us to work in an intelligent manner, and that can be seen at all levels. When it comes to university level, for example, we're going to need research, and we will need participative research and the collective problem solving. At the community level, this learning centre should be able to provide the skills for people in their early childhood, to young people, to women, to everyone. And it will also help us to, even when we're in our older age, we'll also be able to have an impact, a positive impact on the environment if we have this kind of education. So it's really about having a collaborative approach so that we can use artificial intelligence in the most propitious way in order to reach our objectives as learning cities. Indeed, that is our objective, lifelong learning in order to fight against climate change and turning risks into something positive, positive risks of artificial intelligence. And with that, I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. I think that was a great framing to open the discussion. We're now going to go to Willie McCullough from Cork, Ireland.
Thank you, Mark. It's a pleasure to be here from Cork. Might have some graphics. Looking at AI, is it friend or foe, or is it our frenemy? Is it a bit of both? And sometimes I think, while change is inevitable, growth is optional. And it's one of those challenges for us that we need to grow within and manage as best we can. Taking our... Sorry. Oh, yes. Cork City in Ireland is on the western seaboard of Europe. It is a small population in comparison to many of the cities that are here, about 250,000 people. And Cork happened to hold the third international UNESCO conference in 2017. We're very happy to be here now. Looking at our city very briefly, we have a number of strands to our learning city. And you can see one of our lead points is a learning festival, learning neighbourhoods, and a strong network of learning cities within Ireland that takes in 6 of the major cities, both north and south of the border. Our priorities for the next number of years stem from, we have asked our stakeholders, what do we need? What do we need to learn now? And key points have arisen from those discussions. Number 1, obviously we need to learn about climate change, and the point of we need to take an approach to bring climate change for the curious, to teach people about climate change. What does it actually mean on the ground for them? So I'll find to have theories and all that, but what does it mean on a day-to-day basis? The second question was, we need to learn to welcome and to celebrate differences among people. In the world we live in, a lot of differences are very evident, but to celebrate and to acknowledge difference and work with difference is important for us as a city, which is now becoming quite multicultural. We also need to learn how to use and interpret information and technology. And the disinformation that is available for us all is equally challenging. And that point, our young people no longer use traditional mass media as a source of reliable information. And with the development of artificial intelligence, we need to explore how we as a global community can communicate with confidence. Our community response forum within the city have explored some of these pretty big questions and have come up with 3 areas that we need to discuss and to look at. One of them is to look at families. And here we're coming down to the grassroots, not policies, just looking at families within the city without appropriate access to digital devices and seeing how we can accommodate them in broadband to access online education. Now, it's one thing to give people online accessibility, it's another to have the resources kept up to date and to keep training going for people. Older people without access to technology, to connect with family and the relevant outside world is really important as well when we think of isolation among many people within our cities and within our smaller communities. And thirdly, vulnerable groups within our communities. Our examples, our responses to these was to work through, in particular, libraries. And we've developed a library service laptop scheme that was piloted with partners. And just as a small beginning, 50 devices were initially used and developed, were provided for families without access to digital devices or broadband to access online. Following that, age-friendly tablets were designed and supported for older people and were distributed for people without access to technology to connect with families and with the relevant outside world. Capacity support work underway and being planned for future with the library services and with the education services, because the capacity to develop it further is what's really needed. We've discovered during COVID that it's one thing to give people devices. It's another thing to maintain them and to upgrade and to keep people up to date with technology. And finally, community and voluntary organisations have applied for funding. And this is where government support, city council support is critical to the operation of the whole scheme. Funding has to be there. It's one thing to talk about it, but people have to put finances into it. By means of accessing education and training courses, we increase qualifications and a sense of well-being. Older people can connect with families, less isolation for them, and better communication increases a sense of well-being. And our policy of leave no one behind is quite strong among our Learning City network within the city itself, for vulnerable children and adults provided with means to access technology to keep a pace with society. Within the city, there's a climate action plan that has been developed between now and 2030 to implement a number of different strategies. These same 3 target groups have been focused on learning about preparing and responding to extreme climate events, and they will be most affected by them. In particular, extreme heat, extreme cold, and extreme flooding. And families without resources, who are always the most vulnerable, we're trying to proactively prepare their homes with extreme weather, extreme weather, in as many ways possible, with government support, with local finance support. Older people living alone without support to respond to extreme weather, providing access to online technology is a key response. And thirdly, vulnerable groups, especially homeless, rough sleepers, people in poverty, caravans, encampments, all need serious attention at this point in time in responding to climate change. And the city is doing its best to respond with its partners across different communities, but with the Learning City thinking and policy development working with it. And I think we might leave it there for today. These are a few ideas that are coming from Cork in our response to climate change. Thank you.
Thank you, Willie. I think it's really important to bring the human-centered focus and making sure that we're including everybody in our communities in this discussion. So thank you very much for your perspectives. We're now going to ask Mr. Gassim Alianjani to present. And he asked me to practice his name beforehand. I think I messed it up a little bit, but hopefully it was close enough.
In the name of Allah, most merciful, most compassionate, praise be to Allah, and peace and prayers be on the Messenger of Allah. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, august participants, in the outset, allow me to take you on to embark on a journey to the west coast of KSA, to the Pearl of the Red Sea, to the city of learning, the smart city of learning, to industrial city of Yomba. Today, industrial city of Yomba is proud to receive the award of cities of learning in the twin city, the industrial city of Jubail, that really excelled in hosting this event. The excellence witnessed by the cities of the Royal Commission of Jubail and Yomba results from the support provided by our wise leaders based on the comprehensive management principle adopted by the Royal Commission in managing its industrial cities. Industrial city of Yomba received the first acknowledgement of being the first industrial city after ranking first in the Smart Cities Summit held in Barcelona in Spain in 2017. It competed together with 700 cities around the globe. Through the time allocated for me, I would like to open together with you a window in order to explore some of the efforts of Industrial City of Yomba in using and harnessing the mega or big data tools, AI, Internet of Things, in order to improve and assist in the decision-making process for the purpose of providing the best services to the local population as well as the visitors. Through those initiatives and setting up the Smart Operations Center that uses the best state-of-the-art of technologies, as well as such as the sensors and equipments collecting different data from all places of the city that are analyzed by means of AI for the purpose of making decisions as well as adequate procedures when the need arises. All of the facilities in Yomba are directly connected with the Smart Operations Center through fiber optic network of high speed. The center undertakes a major role in providing instant information to assist competent personnel in making their own sound decisions that are adequate to the event through harnessing and using the data and information that are relevant to safety and security, traffic, maintenance and operation systems, as well as irrigation systems, in addition to smart lighting systems and monitoring school transportation, emergency response, and also measuring the quality of air, as well as remote sensing, for the purpose of improving life quality for the local population as well as visitors equally. As long as we are in a conference related to learning cities, I would like to provide you with a model of a smart school transportation. All of the school buses in Yomba cities are integrated in the smart network, equipped with inside and outside cameras that monitoring the traffic and mobilities. And the system enables direct communication with the drivers, which provides instant problems that may arise, such as redirecting the bus in response to the heavy traffic or other weather-related circumstances, which requires quick intervention according to the incident per se. It also provides monitoring and follow-up on the number of students on board the bus, as well as monitoring their behavior, which ensures safety and security for all the passengers. No doubt, this provides parents comfort and reassurance, knowing that their students and their dependents are safe and they are being followed and monitored closely from home to school and vice versa, which reinforces quality of life in Yomba Industrial City. Yomba Industrial City introduced several contributions in order to improve life quality and sustainability, as well as well-being in its local communities, including education, health, environment, tourism, and entertainment. Yomba is really characterized with a comprehensive environmental system, including coastal areas, natural resources such as natural preserves and coral reefs and wildlife. It pays major attention to recycling of solid waste, liquid waste, and electronic waste as well, and treating wastewater to be recycled for the purpose of irrigating green areas. In addition to, the city owns a program for air quality management and monitoring food safety in restaurants and detecting the quality of potable water to meet the standards set forth by the local environment agencies. Yomba Industrial City obtained several certificates, acknowledgements, and accreditation in the area of environmental protection. Yomba works hard to introduce lifelong learning initiatives constantly in relation to the environment and how important it is to protect the environment through entertainment activities, exhibitions, and events that are held in the city, and making use of the non-classroom education systems in order to raise the awareness among the local community and the visitors. Yomba Industrial City holds every year Flowers and Parks Festival in order to reinforce the concept of environment protection and preservation, and to engage the local communities in the initiatives of recycling, as well as raising the education of agriculture culture and how important it is to grow plants inside the homes. The Smart Operations Center provides a large number of information and instant indicators encompassing different activities, either civil activities or industrial, which enabled the smart city to make use of all of these aspects in the comprehensive management of it, and also use the big data in order to ensure sustainable development, empowering the local community through the interactive solutions, commitment to the improvement of environmental initiatives for the purpose of sustainable future. Ladies and gentlemen, Yumba Industrial City invites you to visit the city and enjoy the coast parks and visit the annual Flowers Festival that is held in next mid-February. Thank you very much for your attention, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be upon you all.
Thank you very much, Kassim. As I mentioned in my opening remarks, I saw an incredible demonstration out in the lobby of some of the technologies. So if you go to the Royal Commission booth, Mr. Ahmad Afghani gave me an amazing presentation about how all of these technologies can come together. So the digital twinning, the IoT sensors, and the AI layer that goes on top to enable the smart management of a city. It's really incredible how we're able to pull a lot of the data together. And we've been doing a lot of this work in Canada and globally across the world as well. And it's really incredible how it can be used to support climate resilience and management in cities. So I'd encourage you to do that. Next, we're going to have a presentation from Carla Hongwetud. Welcome.
Muy buenas tardes a todas y a todos.
Good afternoon to you all.
Masá Al-Jair.
Vengo
de La Paz, Baja California Sur.
La Paz in
en
Baja
representación
California,
de la alcaldesa
representing the
una
mayor
ciudad situada entre el desierto y el mar,
city located between the sea and the desert, like Dubai. And we have very similar desires for the future. Technology has become a vital tool in providing mapping of the areas, and which an area where countries' distances are very large. And we can change the land maps based on the technology and characterize the type of soil and ensure that transport is efficient. And this also applies to rural areas, some distance from cities, ensuring that internet everybody has internet. These technologies are effective for people in general. We also deal with another challenge. How can we quickly meet needs in terms of daily requirements? For this, we have a mobile application in which citizens can report citizens, for example, water leaks, waste, public corruption, and road problems, and ill treatment of animals and children, etc., and general problems of that nature. This app is automatically referenced in this report and is followed up. This ensures that this problem is dealt with promptly. You don't have to be called on to refine. All is done within your own person's reach. And we need to, in this way, encourage transparency and confidence between the citizen and the government. I'm delighted with this tool, and it's very similar to what Mr. Hazim reported about in his city. And given the fact that we both coincide on this, I'm delighted. La Paz promotes sustainability and community well-being. We've recently set up 500 trees in the center, and this will combat global warming. This year, we have awarded the City Tree Award, and we will scale this up. The sports center we have encourages sport for everybody. And we have sports installations such as football, for baseball, tennis, basketball, skating, and multifunctional areas, which offer a great opportunity so that people of all ages can enjoy physical activity and be engaged in cultural activities. We have a park system which is characteristic of our city, and this is connected to efficient transport systems as both cycle and car, and this has been set up in our city, and our public authorities, our public staff tend to use bicycles as much as possible. We have cleaned water, of course, is essential for us. We use intelligent systems to maintain green areas in good shape. And, of course, we maintain our water resources as much as possible. And our mayor, Madame Quiroga, is ensured that planning is sustainable in terms of public health and public well-being. A crucial component in our strategy with regard to the environment is the net zero system, and we collect waste and in particular focus on plastic, aluminium, and cardboard. This will combat global warming and deterioration of the environment. Recycling will help, and we need this. We need efficient gathering of waste, and we need to ensure that all containers contain items which can be recycled and properly located within the cities and in the rural areas. With recycling, we ensure that there's a more efficient route for resources, and we ensure that it's promoted within the educational system. One of the most important focus in terms of peace is water. In La Paz, we face hydric stress, and to deal with this, we use innovative tech systems to measure impacts and encourage sustainable development. One key project is the construction of a new reservoir to collect water, and we want to for a sufficient supply of water and to manage things properly, notably during droughts or when there's low rainfall. So this infrastructure project is also backed up by increasing familiarity amongst the public about the need to focus on limiting use of water. We use AI tools for this to educate the population in their sustainable approach. This is also continued of course, in the educational system. And this, as I say, raises awareness in terms of water responsibility. We also have systems at certain times when water should not be used, and also encourage populations to report water waste or leaks. And we ensure, as I say, the public authorities can immediately respond to any problem. Leaks need to be dealt with properly, of course, to avoid waste of water. We have a monitoring center for water, in which we can see how much water there is in the network, and we control systems which are not under control, and these can be followed up in real time. So this is a big advantage of tech. So intelligent approach means we need to focus on transport in the city. Via the application, we can reduce waiting times, for example, for buses. And we've taken measures on top of this to improve safety and access to transport, notably for those with priority concerns, and so that there's no separation between different inhabitants of the city. We have rechargeable tools, and we have follow-up via GPS, for example, and bus stops which are safe and well lighted, and buses which have air conditioning, ramps for access. The commitments now is what we call measures that assess use of private vehicles, for example, in favor of public transport. The measures not just improve public transport in general, but ensure that the systems are safer, and notably in the most vulnerable communities. So via these intelligent transport solutions, we're making our city more connected and fair and environmentally positive. The municipality has made headway in our measurements. We have replaced electric systems with LED systems. This saves energy and is environmentally positive and also encouraging the local economies. LED usage halves consumption of electricity, and the lifespan for these instruments is much longer, and therefore means less waste in terms of bulb replacements. So finally, we've seen how tech can not only be a tool, but it's also a useful tool to build the future. Learning cities, smart cities can bring down barriers and encourage potential. Tech is not the objective, it's a means, and we are determined to move forward in this sense. And the tomorrow depends on the work undertaken at present. Together, we can build cities via our new tech tools and encourage progress. So we need to transform things now. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Carla. So we have about 7 minutes. We're going to try and wrap it up fairly quickly because lunch is next. But one of the things I want to ask each of you, and it's been really incredible, I'm not sure how all of you feel, but for me it's been very incredible to be at this conference and to hear, for example, the different perspectives of each person on the panel, the different people we've met, to be able to take that home to our own cities, to incorporate different things. But I think one of the things that's been really common with all of these sessions is cities are full of people. And one of the things I want to ask each of you, maybe to comment on really quickly, is maybe about how important it is to make sure that these digital solutions, the technologies we've heard about, or the different approaches are accessible, that we reach all of our citizens, and maybe how you do that in a unique way in your own city. Maybe we could start with you, Carla.
Muchas gracias. Nosotros a través de las comunidades, las visitas a las comunidades y también de las
visits to local communities and engagement of our president in rural areas, we are encouraging adoption of our measures so everybody's engaged. We have 31 community centers in our city, and the people of priority needs are met with, and there's increase in awareness of their needs. So we improve the system as much as possible, and when it functions well, that means we can make progress, and we ensure that people are fully aware of how things operate, and that encourages use of the applications.
It was really impressive to see how you're using AI and data. I'm interested as well how that is you're engaging each of the citizens and different groups in your city.
نعم الحقيقة نحن نؤمن بأن هذه التقنيات وهذه الأدوات هي وسائل مساعدة، هي وسائل قائمة وضرورية جدا لتحسين وتجويد العملية الإدارية لإدارة البيئة، لإدارة المدينة، وتقديم أفضل الحلول الممكنة لخدمة سكان وزوار المدينة. حقيقة الذكاء الاصطناعي والبيانات الضخمة وكل هذه يعني التقنيات المستخدمة هي ليست هدف في ينبع الصناعية أو ليست هدف للهيئة الملكية، هي أدوات ساعدتنا للوصول إلى حياة كريمة جيدة تقدم لسكان وزوار المدينة. التقنيات هذه مطروحة في المستقبل هي موجودة، شئت أن تستخدمها أو لا تستخدمها، ولكن هي أداة مساعدة ومهمة تعزز من الأداء الجيد للأعمال، سواء على الجانب الإداري إذا طبقناها أو التعليمي أو حتى في الدائرة البيئية. أتمنى إني أجبت على سؤالك، لكن إذا في توضيح آخر.
Environment management. I hope I answered your question.
Mentioned a lot of focus on different groups in your community using libraries, like Carlo mentioned community centers. Maybe talk a little bit more about how you're ensuring you're reaching all of your citizens.
Okay, I think one of our strengths in the city is our learning neighbourhoods. And this is like a little microcosm of the city, but it's divided into different areas within the city where people know each other and can communicate at that level. And it's trying to access neighbourhood groups like that and influence them and work with them, and most importantly, to listen to them, because they will identify their needs. And it's up to us to respond to those needs rather than us telling them what they need. And that's been a strong point for us, because each community has different needs and we need to respond in different ways to them.
Abdesami, tell me about how you think about this in Morocco, in your city.
Merci pour cette question. Donc, au Maroc, j'ai eu cette opportunité d'être dans le tour de table de ce projet d'envergure de ville apprenante avec une autre casquette, lorsque j'étais à la tête d'une agence de lutte contre l'analphabétisme.
An agency against illiteracy, and in this way I could work with UNESCO, and I thank UNESCO for the support and backing they've given me, and in terms of their contribution here today. So at that time I could see exactly what was happening with this project and deal with it in our city in Morocco, and that was in 2019. I was engaged. Now there's 7 learning cities in Morocco, and the question of use of tech is of course active and of interest, and we are making progress in all of the cities. Some cities have presented their own projects to everybody else, and therefore everybody's engaged, for example, in climate change within the network. The main focus for me has been to think that we focus on AI and the digital aspects. We are moving towards computers, but at the end Man is important. It's mankind that creates sense, and that needs to be borne in mind. So the momentum is focused on the end user, i.e. human beings, and this has been the underlying logic behind our strategy. This has been fruitful in terms of number of cities in our network. We have the results of that. 7 cities are engaged in this, and they have received awards, and the future looks promising for them. And we'll move forward to make greater use of this tech and use mobile apps, for example, to extend things. We can make a great deal more progress, but I'm very optimistic about how things are going to develop.
Great, thank you so much. So just in wrapping up, I think what I took away from this session is a number of points. One, we need to embrace AI and other digital tools. They're more than just fads or cool items. But at the same time, the reason that we're implementing these technologies is for our citizens, for the people in our communities. We need to make sure that we're including all of our citizens in those initiatives, and that they're also benefiting from that adoption. Each of our cities will have localized issues, different challenges, and we will each develop localized solutions, but it's great to be able to share them with each other, and maybe we can take something away from each other today. And I think community engagement, again, is critically important. So thank you very much, everybody. We're right on time, so I want to end it here and enjoy your lunch. Thank you for attending our session.